Okay, so we are going to begin. So what you're going to do today is set up a colorway of your choice. So it's going to look something like this, but you can do it anyhow you want it to be, but as long as it's presentable, it's clean and understandable. So you're going to have small boxes of little colors that all connect together, that gel together as a family. And with these colors, you're also going to get the number for the colors, which is the Pantone colors, and you can find them in the color wheel chart. So you're going to make little boxes, put in the color and find the numbers first. You can lay them out something like this, or you can lay them out as little circles, be as creative as you want it to be, because this will be one of your pages in your portfolio. So to do that, I'm going to stop share this presentation and share with you Illustrator. So if you can open Illustrator for now, we can start beginning to make our collection of colors. Make sure they all relate with each other. So I know you're thinking, what does red, orange, yellow, greens, and black have to do with colors matching? But what I've done is put together a color that makes a family body of color. So from here, it screams out natural, earthly, mother nature kind of feel. So make sure the colors that you choose match to a certain tone or feeling. So that's what you're going to do. And if you open up Illustrator, you can do that. You can also do this in Photoshop. So don't feel, if you're not too confident in using Illustrator, feel free to use Photoshop. So I'm going to stop and share this moment. I'm going to open up Illustrator for you. So you can all see Illustrator page. So you should open that up. Is everybody okay with getting on Illustrator? You should all have a page set up and open just like this, and it will be ready for you to start doing your color family, like it could your color palette really. As you can see on my layers composition box, you see that I've already kind of started it. So I am going to act like if was just starting it now, and then we'll show you the overall look. So if you can just go and take your mouse to the rectangular tool, you can make little boxes, okay? Just by dragging it and making little boxes like this. If you look on the top and you think that this box is not equal to its size, you can alter the size by changing the sizes here. So if I put 20 millimeters, and then on this side, I put 20 millimeters, this will be an even square like that, okay? And remember to edit, copy, edit, paste if you want to make more options of this square. So all I need you to do is make little boxes just like so. Double click to change your color. So if you wanted a pink look, you can put pink and let go. You can choose to have a stroke or not. I've chosen not to have a stroke, but if you want to stroke a black stroke, you can do that. And I want you to make roughly around 6 boxes. You're not obliged to keep within 6. If you want to make a color palette of 4, you can do that. Or if you want to make a color palette of 12, you can do that. But I was saying for graphical purposes, it's no more than 6. You won't want to see so much color on a flyer or so much color in a image or a pattern that you create. So it's best to just keep it as it is, around 6 to 12 maximum of color, and that will be fine, or even 4 if you can work with a small amount. So what I want you to do is just create little boxes like this. So if I want to make this a copy, I will go to edit, copy, edit, paste. So that makes more copies. You can align them so they're at a good distance, like this. And then you just keep on going. And to make it easier, you can also choose them together and put edit, copy, edit, paste. You can keep on doing it that way. And you're just going to change the color accordingly until you have a nice range of a colorway for your flyer or so. So if I don't want this pink, I can change it to a kind of baby blue, or, you know, if I'm going for a palette that's summery but quite chic, I can go for that look. And then you can choose to have a stroke on all of these or not. So if I don't want a stroke, you'll select all of them and put no stroke. Okay, so I'm going to give you a moment for this, about 15 minutes, to make your color palette. So let me just show you how you will get your numbers, the color number. So if anybody was to find out what number it is, you go to the color picker, you'll find that the number's down the bottom. You copy this number, cancel it, and paste it. Yeah. So that will be your number. Remember to put the hashtag at the front of the number, okay? And just make sure that the colors work well together. So if you're going for an olive green, like a deep blue sometimes might not go for it. So think of colors that really match well and like complement each other. So that's what you're going to do for now. Another thing that I never pointed out actually is the Illustrator guides that I've put on. So if you're in Illustrator and you want to put guides like what I've put on here to make it all symmetric in, you know, the lining guidance of things, you can do that by going to view and going down to show grid. So right now it's got hide grids, but because I've got the grids on, but it will say show grids, and you click on show grids and this will pop up. And you can set your guides anyhow you want them to be. So do that. And the same as rulers. If you want, I can put my rulers on. It's nice to do that and bring down rulers to make sure they're in line. And let me bring it here to show that it's in line. So I can do it like that as well. So I'm just dragging a random image in here to show you another way in which you can pick out colors and make sure that it's tightly knit with the image that you're working with. So you can do it by this. You can drag in an image and you can pick a color directly from an image by doing what I'm doing right now. Okay, so I'll double click onto the square. I'm going to use my picker and select a color from the image. Okay, so I can do that all the way through if I wanted to make sure that the color stays within the design that I'm working with. So it's the picker. I can choose a dark one, not that. That's a bit too dark. And just keep on working my way through. Once you've created your color palette, please do save it on your USB. Yeah, so the first thing to do is save your color palette on a USB, save one as an Illustrator document or a Photoshop document. It's good to save both, and also save one as a JPEG. What you're going to do now is open Photoshop and open a new document. It could be, an A4 or an A5. I'm going to go for A5 because most documents, most flyers are A5. So I will open that document. So yeah, I was just basically showing you how to open the document. So just go to your Photoshop open A5, so go to print A5, and then we're going to work into our backgrounds before we start arranging a flyer. So that's what we're going to do. So these are just basically a concept of delivering a flyer without using a template, but making it look as though it's like a template and more. I have Illustrator up at the same time, and Photoshop. So as I said before, it's good to use two of them at the same time. But what you could do, you can drag the whole of the layers, but I don't think you're going to see it. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one way. So what you can do is select all the layers and then drag it into Photoshop. But the other thing, what you're going to do is save your work. So I've opened it as a saved document. You can save your color palette onto your USB, and then file, open, and find out where that thing is.
So like just open that document. So it's not like the swatch you're open, it's the whole doc. Okay, yeah. Cool.
So you can do it like that. And then if you're doing it and it's a Illustrator, the thing with that, you have to rasterize it after. If it's not that and it's a JPEG like what I've got now, it just comes up as a document. So you're working between two documents, really. That's what you can do. But you're not going to do that. You can just select all. Sorry. Let's see. You can select all here and go to your document and edit. No, sorry, it was meant to be. So here, go back to color paste, select all, edit, copy, and go back to the other document and put edit, paste. So you have that as a reference. You can't work off board here, so it's quite difficult, but you can just put it here for now, and you can still reference the colors in there. Let me just take this layer off and for you to not see it. And what I'll do is I need you to just select a color that will be for your background layer. And the next thing, what I want you to do is start placing shapes on top, okay? So you're going to do this anyhow you want it to be done. You can use the rectangular tool to do a shape, but it's all about creating quite funky shapes, I will say. So it's good to use not the magnetic tool, but if you go down here, you can use the polygamy tool and make funky shapes. So I want you to put lots of shapes on your board. Remember to make them a layer. So when you do these shapes like this from your background layer, make sure you're in a background layer, put edit, copy, edit, paste. So for every shape that you're doing, make sure that you make them become a layer. Because if you don't, everything will be flattened and you're not able to work and within your background, really. So just make sure your edit, copy, edit, paste, that means you've made it a layer. So let's show you what you've done. Let me see. So put edit, copy. Okay, you made it a layer, and all you will need to do is all you will need to do is color in that shape. So I want you to make lots of shapes and put color in every shape that you put on. So it'll be a whole background of different shapes on top of each other. Yeah, I'm going to get somewhere with it. Don't worry. You're not going to be doing minute work. You're going somewhere with it. That's one shape. Let's take out this. So it's things, and I want you to just layer as many shapes as possible that you have, okay? Just put lots of shapes on there.
So I don't know if you've just explained this and I missed it, but so I've drawn one shape with the tool, but then when you click to draw the next, the first one disappears.
So you've drawn one. So you've drawn one shape. Is your layer? Did you draw it from your background layer? So did you make sure you click that?
It's on my background layer.
Okay, and you've drawn a shape. Did did you put, so press edit, copy, edit, paste?
Right.
Now look onto your layers and see if it's been made a layer.
No, oh, hang on, I'm just, okay, I think I might be able to, I'll be able to figure it out. I didn't.
Yeah. So make sure, so once you put edit, copy, edit, paste, look back on your layer composition box just to see if
Right.
it's become a layer. But then you have to reselect that layer to put a color in.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, if I have, yeah, this one and I let go of it, I can go back to that shape and put reselect. So yeah, that's what we'll be doing. Does anyone have any more questions or need help with anything? If you look at the Google itself, I do not say Google right. I don't know if anybody knows how to pronounce it, please help me. I don't know how to say it.
I think it's just your London accent.
Is it? How do you say it? I get scared to say it because I know I say it wrong. How do you say it?
Google. But Google.
Google.
But I think that's just my accent too.
I don't know how to say it. I think it's Google, but I don't think it's that. Someone told me it's not that. But you all know what I'm trying to say. The background, if you look at Google, you can see how they've put different shapes. Okay, for here, you might think it's triangles, but to be honest, underneath there's much more than that going on. It could be squares or so on. So what I need you to do is create a background with different transparencies. So what you're going to create a background that has some of the opacity might have 80, or one of the shapes might have 80, the other shape might have 60, and I'm going to just show you how you will do that. So all the backgrounds that you see that Google has, you're going to do it with your colorway. You can even make this into a pattern after, but this will be the background to the flyer that you're going to make. So let's have a go at doing this. What you're going to do now is make your shapes that you've put onto your backgrounds have different opacities. So if you're going, so the background was this, that was 100. If you look at where my cursor is, you can find on the layer composition part, you can find that the background's completely 100, is at 100, okay? The triangle, if you go to the triangle, it is also at 100, yeah? And the other shapes that you've put on, so if it's this, it is at 80, okay? So I want you to put lots of shapes and make them have different opacities. This is at 62, okay? So you're going to change it, put different shapes and colors. Hopefully you're all getting more confident in using these packages. I hope so, you know? And I feel like many of you will be fine with getting a job or anything in that area. Okay, once you are, I'm just going to give you 3 minutes to just complete the background of this. So remember, each shape is according to the opacity. So you'll have a shape that's probably got 60, opacity 100, different shapes. So you're going to just do that for now. And it was always good to reference it to your color palette that is for the background. When you're happy and you think that you've got the right kind of layout of which you want, remember your rescales and transformation. So that can be done by clicking on a layer, going to edit, transform, scale, or you can do a free transform, which it distorts the sides. But I like to go with a scale, so everything stays within its own element. You can start doing things like this. Photoshop works really different from Illustrator because once things are off the artboard, it's completely off the artboard. It only works with things within the artboard. So when you think you're done, you can then start putting text on top of your layer. You can put your text on, and the way you do that is go to your text and position the text. So with what you've done on Tuesday, you're going to still make the flyer based on what you produced on Tuesday. So if your flyer was about the community, you're going to do that. If your flyer was about an event, you're going to type that out. So for instance, this is a book launch or something. I don't know. And I don't know, PCL, I'm just making up. So a book launch. And then you're going to work with editing your text. You can double click on the text layer and go into the edit box, which will provide you with color overlay, stroke, and so on. And you're just going to put it there like that. Before you finish your text, I want you to put in a logo the logo that you designed, or an image logo. So this image logo is just like, if you look at a brand like Lacoste doesn't need to say Lacoste anymore. They can just have their crocodile. People know that the crocodile is from the Lacoste company. So if you want to put in a kind of silhouette from that, that is also easy to put in. So you can find an image on Google and copy it, save it, and put it in here. So I might have to show you that as well. One minute. Okay, so this one was dragged into Photoshop. I do not want the background of the bird. I just want the bird. So something to what we did before. Okay, you can use the magnetic tool for this. It's good to zoom in. Let's see. Make sure that you're on the layer as well. Okay. Okay, so when it's selected, you press edit, copy, edit, paste. It makes it a new layer. You can now delete that one and it's have that. We don't want that, so I'm going to reselect. I'm going to clear it and I'm going to fill it with one of my templated colors. So edit, fill. Let's get the picker and I'm going to choose, I can choose it from here or choose a black. Okay, because that's one of my colors. Okay, and press deselect. Okay, you can see it's a bit rough. So I'll go back. Tool. In Illustrator, obviously, this will be done better. You can get your pen tool and start cutting out things that you don't really want. I'm just getting things that I don't really want on here. Okay. Okay. Okay, so this is what you're going to do. You don't have to make it to be a black silhouette. You don't need to do that. You can, as long as it's selected from your color palette, it can be any of them. So within my color palette, there is black. So that's why I've chosen to do this bird as a black bird. So I'll do is that. Okay. Okay, so I have this bird. I'm going to also implement this in there. So I want you to find an image, do exactly what I did, but change the color. So you're not keeping the features of it all. It could be a silhouette, or it could be taking out some parts of the bird, or it doesn't have to be a bird, but an object, and putting in your color way within there. Does anybody have any questions? Do you need help with anything that I said? So I'm going to scale this as well. Make this here. Okay. And put it here. And remember your title. Let's put there. Okay, I'm going back to my color palette, so I'm going to make sure that it's not that color. So, it's color overlay. Okay. Do that. I'm going to put a stroke on this one. So do that. I'll put a stroke as this. Okay. Okay, so you should have your title, an image taken from Google, or if it's an image that you've drawn and you want to put in, you can take a picture and convert it that way. Mm-hmm. And remember, you can alter the look of your title. You can also put in things like shading to give extra dimension. So you can have an inner shadow, you can have an outer shadow. A drop shadow is quite good. So it gives, if you look at the difference that it's done, like that, you can see the difference. It's multiplied. You can make it stand out like that. Okay. So, and once you've done that, you're going to find an area within your leaflet to put your address and date and time. So I'm going to put this here. I think it would be nice to put the position of the date here. We can put it here. You can think about the ways you would like to put that. Okay. But make sure it fits within the shape though. I don't really like things where it just comes out. It's not thought about of where the placement of the dress will be. So if it got, like, design works very well when it's thought about. So here goes within the shape, then out of the shape. Is quite cool. Okay, so I'm going to give you a moment to work on getting an image from online and putting your title in, and then I want you to find an area of where you can put your address and so on. Okay, so once you've have your title and you had this object that you've just put into your layer, your flyer, think about your positioning of your address and time. So if you're holding an event or a community event, the first thing that people want to know, they want to know where it is, they want to know the time. So position it right and give it as a good enough size so people see that first. After, you can put in a spill of what your event is about. Okay, so you're just going to work things into. And size is very important. So it's not always good to go too big, but it's good to go just average, I'll say. There is another thing that you can do with text. So if you look at this text, the gap between each line is quite tight. So you can change the gap between each line. Okay, so I'm going to show you that as well. Okay, so I'm going to just change the gap in between each line. So you can do this by going to your properties. So I made sure that I had my properties out. It wasn't open before. Going to this, it's got A above the A. You can increase or decrease the size. Okay, so if you're wanting to make something and make it be literate to everyone, it's always good to give it a nice gap. No, not too big, but enough. The smaller it gets, the tighter it gets. I do see some flyers and work that people do with tight wording close by. It's kind of cool, but if you're trying to read something, it does mess with your mind. So it's good to give it a little bit of gap, and you can change the text. Don't always work in Arial. Remember, in Photoshop, there is hundreds of texts you can choose from, and explore them and make sure you try them. Arial's good, but it's good to try different texts and give it different dimensions. So all of this is in Arial, but it will be good to have this one in something like Impact or something different, just to give it a bit more dimension. Go to Impact. Okay, so it can be like this. It won't be finished yet, but as you build, you will have your flyer. So if this is something that you're doing for yourself or a company, always ask your manager, what is the colorway? Or even if you notice that the company uses a lot of same colored things, bring that into your design aspect of things. If you're working for Haringey Council, already know that they use red and whites. That's all through Haringey. If you're working with Islington Council, they use green, yellow, and white, and a bit of black. So you've got to start, when you're walking and going around the streets, it's quite good to just look out, what is their colorway? I'm going to bring it into the design. So even preparing you for interviews right now, you can start looking around at what is their color code. So if there's a company that you wish to work for and it's in the design sector, look at their color codes and make up portfolios around their work, around their designs. finish it off as much as you can completely. Work with the scale, be confident in where you place your text, explore the different styles of text, explore the spacing in between the text and your background, okay? And remember your color palette that you have. After, when you're finished, obviously what you will do is delete this palette off your screen because it will print with the flyer, but that's what we'll do. And once it's all finished, save it as well. This is the end for today, and I will see you next week.
Thanks,
you so
Sarah.
much.
Don't worry.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 Bye.